Is Cinderella Is Dead the queer feminist reimagining of the tale of Cinderella that we've always wanted? I'm not really sure. For a while, I really have wanted to pick up Cinderella Is Dead by Kalynn Bayron, and I was on hold at the library for probably at least a month, waiting for this new release to actually be available for me to pick up. And I finally got it, and I finished it in 2 days. So if you're interested in hearing my thoughts about Cinderella Is Dead by Kalynn Bayron, keep watching. Make sure you thumbs up this video, press that subscribe button if you haven't already, and drop a comment in the comment section below. Have you picked up this book? Do you plan on it? And what have you been reading during the month of September? So let's get right into this review of Cinderella Is Dead. Cinderella Is Dead is a new YA fantasy fiction novel by Kalynn Bayron. Cinderella Is Dead follows 16-year-old Sophia, and in the town that she lives in, it is 200 years after the death of Cinderella. And every single year, all of the girls that are 16 years or older have to attend the Cinderella Ball. And at this ball, they are basically auctioned off to all of the eligible bachelors in the town. But in the twist that all fantasy novels have, our main character, Sophia, does not want to attend the ball. She would much rather spend this time with her best friend, Erin, who she is actually in love with. So after Sophia attends the ball and everything goes less than well, it leads us down a fast-paced chain of events. We fall into an adventure tale full of magic, reanimated corpses, and a budding lesbian romance. I really enjoyed what Kalynn Bayron tried to do here. I will not say that Cinderella Is Dead is a bad YA novel, because it's not. It's actually very enjoyable, it's very fast-paced, it's full of action. It kept me interested the entire time, but the devil is really in the details with this one. My main problem with Cinderella Is Dead was the world building, or lack thereof. I desperately wanted to know what exactly the world would look like 200 years after Cinderella has died. Are we in like a very futuristic setting? What language do they speak? What does the food taste like? What jobs do people in this town perform? But what we're really given is just like this very standard, almost stock image of a fairy tale setting. We get this like Disney-esque outdoor market, like those markets that they have in every single Disney princess movie. We get wooden homes and no electricity. I really would have loved if the author took more time to just describe what was in our surroundings during the entire course of this book. There's no real moment where anything is really described to the point where the reader really understands this world that has been created. We don't even really get a good description of the gowns that the girls are wearing, or Sophia's gown itself. If you want to make us believe that we're reading a fairy tale, make us know that it is a fairy tale. Also, the dialogue was lacking in a lot of places. And it was kind of frustrating because the conversations even felt repetitive at times, and even at points it really contradicted the plot. Like on page 135, Sophia has just found the person that is about to be her love interest in the book, Constance. They have this conversation and they're supposed to meet back up at a later point. And so when they eventually meet back up, Sophia runs into her and is like super shocked that Constance is there. And she says, "What are you doing here?" Like directly to her face. This person that she is supposed to be meeting at this exact location that they agreed to just a few pages before. It was absolutely mind-blowing because it completely contradicted what was going on here. Another example was throughout the entire beginning of this novel, Sophia is ready to run away without a moment's notice. She keeps telling everybody, we could just drop everything and run away right now. But then when Sophia actually decides to run away, she's like, oh my gosh, I have to go see my parents before I leave. But Sophia doesn't even really like her parents that much. She constantly is roasting her mother, and she rarely even talks to her father. So I was just very confused with this sudden concern for her to go visit her parents. I understood what Kalynn Bayron was trying to do in terms of plot. She wanted to put Sophia in a dangerous situation while she was visiting her parents and like do this like, you know, emotional goodbye. But it didn't make any sense in context of the story and who Sophia was as a character. In terms of the romance just felt like so insta-lovey. There was no real building of the relationship, and Sophia and Constance fell in love so quickly. I guess that since Constance did sort of save her life in a way, it may make them, I mean, especially since they're teenagers, it may make sense that it is kind of insta-lovey, but I didn't feel for the relationship, the way that it was kind of like forced a little bit, because Sophia was in love with her best friend, and that is the reason that she wants to run away. So the fact that she fell in love with somebody new is just like, I don't know. And then they never mention her best friend at the end. Like, they don't ever say what happened to her best friend at the end of this book, which I didn't really care for. And then last but not least, so Cinderella is Black in this novel, but there are no real identifiers. There's no sort of like conversations about, you know, maybe things that she's doing with her hair to prepare for the ball. I don't know exactly what the culture was, and that's more about the world building too. Is this a multiracial society? Who are the people? If you are trying to make this statement that we have a Black protagonist who is supposed to be almost like this, our hero, I would have liked more world building around her so that we understand her culture, and not just you slapping a Black main character on your front cover. You know? So the idea of the novel is wonderful, but maybe crafting it as YA was the mistake. I could see this being an adult fantasy novel. I could really see it being like built up a lot more, you know, building the relationship, making it more tense and, you know, angsty, and having a lot more action and really building a world and you know, like kind of getting rid of like the baby font that it is written in, really giving you like that novel, that fantasy novel that we all really are craving to go along with a storyline like this that is so enticing and interesting. I feel like the envelope could have been pushed in terms of language and discussing patriarchy and the queer phobia that is present in this novel. It's good for what it is, but I just wanted more. So as I was editing this video, I realized that the video cut off at this point, which is super tragic, but I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I didn't have much more to say other than I just wanted more from Cinderella Is Dead. The plot was great, but it just needed so much more time taken to really build a world that people love. And so I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure that you give it a nice thumbs up and drop some in the comment section below. What have you been reading? What are your thoughts if you picked up this book? Do you plan on picking it up at a later time? And that's all. I'll catch you in the next video, and always remember that you are loved.